As we are coming in on Black Friday 2018, we will be uploading a series of videos looking at some of the best PlayStation 4 game deals available. We'll be splitting these videos up based on pricing and retailer, and in this video, we'll be taking a look at the 10 best Best Buy deals on PlayStation 4 games under $20. There are actually a ton of fantastic deals available at around or less than this price point, so I wanted to go over 10 of the best that I saw. Without further ado, let's get right into it, and let's start things off with a 2018 PlayStation 4 exclusive in Detroit Become Human for $19.99. Now, Detroit Become Human was a game by Quantic Dreams, the guys that also brought you Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls. Those games were pretty good, and Detroit follows a similar style in being a very story-oriented game. It's set in the future and it has a great premise, although with games like this, the issue is whether or not you really value them at $60. A lot of the times you can beat them once, get a quality story out of it, and then be pretty much done with it. So at $60, Detroit was a little bit of a hard sell, but now that it's down to $20, it is an absolute buy. If you enjoyed Heavy Rain or Beyond Two Souls, this game's gonna be right up your alley. In my personal opinion, I do think Detroit is much better than Beyond Two Souls. Not quite as good as Heavy Rain, but still very good at this price point, especially considering it only released around 6 months ago. Next up, we have Burnout Paradise Remastered for $9.99. Now, it is incredible how quickly Burnout Paradise has gotten so cheap. It was originally released back in March at $39.99, and I was very vocal at that time in how I thought EA was overpricing Burnout Paradise Remastered. Well, I'm gonna take the credit for forcing this game down to such a low price. It has been cheaper on the PlayStation Store. Recently, as a part of a sale, it was available for $9. However, on the physical side of things, the cheapest I've seen it for was around $14.99, so now for $10, you really need to check out Burnout Paradise Remastered. If you never played the game back in 2008 when it was originally released, it's a very arcadey open world racer, and yes, it does have some dated mechanics, but overall, the pure enjoyment you're gonna get out of Burnout Paradise is easily worth that $9.99. Moving on from that, we have Nier Automata for $19.99. Nier Automata is a game that has really held up in value. It was released early on in 2017, and it's still been going for around $30 to $45, but now as a part of Black Friday and Best Buy sale, Nier Automata will be down to $19.99, and this is a fantastic price for a great game by Platinum Games. Nier Automata is a game with a lot of depth to it. You really need to play through the game multiple times to get the entirety of the story, but it changes viewpoints every time. It's just a very, very high quality experience, and it's very well crafted in nearly every regard, from the gameplay, music, presentation. It's all at a very high level, and at $19.99, Nier Automata is definitely worth a pickup. Next up, we have Diablo The Eternal Collection for $19.99. Now, if we're talking about deals for just pure hours of gameplay, it probably doesn't get much better than Diablo The Eternal Collection. It has Diablo 3 as well as all of the content that's been released, and to get all of that for this price is absolutely insane, considering the fact that this is a game you can spend north of 1,000 hours on, maybe even more than that. Diablo is just a very addicting experience, and yes, I know there has been a lot of negativity surrounding Diablo recently, and rightfully so. The reveal of Diablo Immortal was a gigantic train wreck, but with Diablo 3, you're getting a high quality experience, and with the Eternal Collection being $19.99, I would absolutely pick it up. Next up, we have Far Cry 5 for $19.99. Now, I've been one that's been super vocal about waiting to pick up Ubisoft games, because if you look at the Ubisoft track record recently, they'll release these big games like a Far Cry 5 or an Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and then they will go on sale very, very quickly, and you can get them cheap very, very quickly, and we see that here with Far Cry 5 being down to $19.99. By the way, Best Buy is gonna have Odyssey on sale as well, and we'll cover that in a future video. But talking about Far Cry 5, yes, fundamentally it does follow in suit from a lot of what we saw in previous Far Cry games. That's not generally a bad thing, because the previous Far Cry games have been rather good. However, I could see why some would be hesitant of picking up the game for a full $59.99, because it is so much of the same. However, now that it's down to $19.99, Far Cry 5 is a great buy. And again, it's only been around 8 months since the game has been released, so to get it for a third of its original price, that's a pretty big win in my book. And if you've been eyeing Far Cry 5 for a while, now that it will be $19.99, definitely a good time to pick it up. Next up is a franchise that I always go to bat for, and you can get the Banner Saga Trilogy for $19.99. Now, this was released back in July, and it was released at a very good $39.99 price point. To get all 3 Banner Saga games for $40, I would say was already a great deal, but now you can get all 3 games for just $19.99, and bear in mind that the 3rd game was a recent release. That is a fantastic deal on a franchise that has not gotten enough love. It's a Viking-themed strategy RPG with fantastic presentation, great music, a great story. It really has every element of a high-quality RPG, so it just begs the question, why isn't it more popular than it is? I don't have the answer to that. However, with Banner Saga Trilogy being down to $19.99 for Black Friday is absolutely the time to check out the Banner Saga games. Next up, we have Watch Dogs 2 for $14.99. Now, Watch Dogs 2 did release a few years ago, but this was a game that surprisingly held up in value for quite a while. I just talked about Ubisoft games going on sale rather quickly, and that is usually the case. However, Watch Dogs 2 was a game that after it hit that $20 tier, it really wasn't getting much cheaper, but hey, it's finally going to be available for $14.99 as a part of Best Buy's Black Friday deals. Watch Dogs 2 was a significant improvement upon the first Watch Dogs, and the first Watch Dogs was a game that had a gigantic amount of hype going into it. However, it did let a lot of people down, but the general premise set in the first Watch Dogs had a lot of potential, and it was really realized in Watch Dogs 2. It's a much better game, a better world, more diverse content, the gameplay mechanics are just better. If you played the first Watch Dogs and for whatever reason were turned off by it, but you like the general premise of it, I would say go back and give Watch Dogs 2 a shot. I often compare Watch Dogs 2 to Assassin's Creed 2, and that the first Assassin's Creed turned a lot of people off too, but then Assassin's Creed 2 revamped it and made it a lot more engaging. That's kind of how I see Watch Dogs 2. Unfortunately, unlike AC2, Watch Dogs 2 didn't see a similar level of commercial reception, but now that it's available for so cheap, again, go back and give it a look. Speaking of Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed the Ezio Trilogy is going to be down to $14.99. Now, of course, Ezio was the main character in Assassin's Creed 2, and Assassin's Creed 2 was so successful that it brought with it 2 more titles in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood as well as Assassin's Creed Revelations, all of them compiling to be the Ezio Trilogy, and you get all 3 games in one package with this collection. Now, Assassin's Creed 2 is a tremendous game. I would say that Assassin's Creed Brotherhood is also very good, and I felt like with Assassin's Creed Revelations, maybe Ezio overstayed his welcome a little bit too much, but all 3 games are very, very good. You get all of them in one package, and if you're a trophy hunter, this is absolutely awesome. You're essentially getting each game for $5 with this deal, and I would say that's pretty freaking great, especially if you've never played the Ezio games. They were released a while ago at this point, so if you are a younger gamer, maybe you got into Assassin's Creed with a later game, I would really recommend you to go back and check out AC2, AC Brotherhood, and AC Revelations, and the Ezio Trilogy is the best way to do so. $14.99 for it is also a great pickup. Next up, we have Monster Hunter World, which will be down to $19.99. Monster Hunter World was one of the most anticipated games heading into 2018. It was released early this year, and it's still one of the front runners for the Game of the Year. Monster Hunter World really made Monster Hunter accessible to a larger array of people. Monster Hunter for a long time was relegated to Nintendo platforms and portable platforms, but with MH World, it was finally coming to premier platforms, and of course on the PlayStation 4, it looks great, it plays great. Yes, it is a little bit more accessible than your typical Monster Hunter game. It's not as fleshed out as some of the other Monster Hunter titles. However, if you're a newcomer to the franchise, Monster Hunter World is absolutely the game to pick up, and you're still going to be spending a ton of time with it. Capcom has done a great job with keeping it updated, and there's just so much to do in the game, and again, just like Diablo 3 Eternal Collection, probably to a lesser degree, in terms of actual playtimes, Monster Hunter World is tremendous, and at $19.99, it's a great pickup. Finally, I do want to give a mention to Kingdom Come Deliverance, which will be available for $19.99, one of the earlier games of 2018. This was a game in development for quite a while by Warhorse Studios, and it's a historical RPG set in the 15th century medieval kingdom of Bohemia. And I think historical accuracy and realism is something that this game does really, really well. Is it perfect? No, Kingdom Come Deliverance did have some issues, especially at launch from a technical side. However, if you want a more hardcore and again, realistic RPG, Kingdom Come Deliverance offers you a very different experience than a lot of other RPGs that do hold your hand a little bit more. KCD does a great job of leaving you to your own devices and leaves you to make a lot of different decisions. And now that it is down to $19.99 and with the game being much better than it was at launch, I would say with Kingdom Come Deliverance, Black Friday is the time to check it out. So that's gonna conclude this video. Again, these are only 10 deals that are under $20. Best Buy has so many more deals, and we'll upload another video looking at some of the more expensive deals. We'll cover the other retailers as well. But for now, we hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Let us know what games you're planning on picking up, and thank you for watching, and goodbye.